Okay, 2089, good luck. We've not played before, there's no head-to-head score there. Playing 12,000 games of Rapid, that's really good. Let's play traditional Reti. E3 has kind of become the more traditional move, just to try and challenge D4. If D4, then I'll play B4. Okay, he does play D4, so we'll play B4. It depends obviously what my opponent does. Lots of options. Bishop up, pawn up, bishop up. Maybe D3 or E3. Got lots of various lines. Plays knight up, okay. Play bishop up to challenge the pawn, then 2 attack and 1 defend. So he plays forward. I think knight takes is right here. Bishop takes. I mean, you very often sack this b pawn in the Reti anywhere. So I think knight takes is supposed to be right. So you can try and defend, but you're inviting the pawn forward. I'm just going to take this pawn and then maybe go g3. Look to get castled. We've given up a b pawn. Oh, he doesn't take it. He will do in a few moves' time, I guess, but giving me a chance to actually push my pawn forward now. I'm going to do that. I might be able to trade the pawn off now. Again, it might prove to be just a temporary pawn, but I'm going to go g3 with a view to trying to get the bishop into play and try not to forget about this knight. He's probably going to put the bishop here. So he kicks the knight. I think this way is probably best. If I go here, I challenge the pawn directly. If he comes forward again, then just go back where I am. If I go here, there's no immediate threat, but everything's weighted on the queen side. So I'm going to go back this way and challenge the pawn. Okay, now I'm going to go back again and try and go here. I might end up getting kicked and having to come this way anyhow, but there I'm going to take. I'm just trying to do this in castle. That's the objective. So now bishop up, he can kick the knight. This time I will end up going here, but feels like I've got the objectives done and a pawn up. It might be a temporary pawn, but a pawn nonetheless. So pressure the pawn, threaten to take and take at some point, but now we're castled. So are we threatening to take here? Take, bishop takes, so it doesn't quite work. Here, if you come down, the knight can still come back. Maybe here as well, then 2 attack, and we've got options to go forward. So here, pawn down, knight back, but it looks basically fine to me. It might not be fine, but it looks it. So I'm just going to develop and give myself options. Probably knight back. I don't think I've got any other moves, so just drop back. It is rapid, this. Oh, I just didn't even think I was actually trapping my bishop in. I didn't even think that I was actually getting my bishop trapped there. Oh well, that's just one of them concentration things, but we have got 2 pawns, so could be worse. So pawn up here to free up this knight. But yeah, this pawn's likely to be lost, so yeah, I've just kind of gone wrong there, not paying attention. But not to worry. At some point we might be able to sack here and then try and grab an extra pawn. So can we actually do that? I don't think we can right now, so I'm assuming I go here and knight across. Queen up, you can definitely move your bishop out of the way. So I'm going to go here, try not to burn the clock. Now that I've lost a piece there, I need to try and get up a little bit on the clock if I can. It fixes this pawn in place. The knight still has options. The queen now has an option to come up and challenge. So if I play a queen up, 3 attack and 2 defend. And that makes good sense to me. So 3 pieces attack it and 2 pieces defend it. There's a potential sack and then take back in certain lines. Or maybe even take with the knight. If knight takes, you take and you hit the diagonal and you threaten a pawn as well. Let's just see what my opponent does and then worry about it when it's our go. Okay. So if we take, you take now, and we can't take back, but we can if we take here first. Take. Knight takes, but the knight doesn't have to take back, but I'm threatening knight check to win the queen. So take, knight takes. If you do nothing whatsoever, I'm simply threatening knight takes knight and discover on the queen. If you move the queen, I've got knight takes knight. Something can take back. I take and you can take, but have I gained useful material out of that? I'm going to do it. It might be a mistake, but I'm going to do it. I feel like I've gone wrong out of the opening here, so I'm going to play this. We should have a bishop here and threatening a pawn as well, potentially. But it might still be just bad for me, this. It might just be bad, but at least if we can gain a centre pawn, it's something. It might prove to be nothing, but it's something. So now take, and then take back. The one thing he doesn't do is just move his knight somewhere else here because we're threatening check. So we'll just pre-move to take back there. But I think we should end up now. We've got, what, 3 pawns for the piece. The outer A pawn is likely to be lost. Going to be very difficult to protect it. And obviously I need to get my rook and my other knight in to play the piece on the back rank. So in the long run that's likely to be lost, but if we could build some sort of connected pawn centre, might be something. But he's doing the right thing, he's using time. It's very easy to just play too quickly in chess and you don't think at the critical moments and you miss one key move somewhere and that's all it takes. Okay, so it's the same kind of thing. We can take and take the exchange back. And then we're still a piece down, but I don't think I've got anything else at all, so I'm going to do it. I'm just going to take and take back. But I need to get activity, so I'm assuming I push and I try and build a pawn centre here. And I don't want to burn all my clock, so I'm going to push. If he doesn't take, I'll just advance the pawn. But I've got to try and get the rook and knight into play. That's not easy to do. Bishop down. The bishop should be too strong here. Oh, he has let me push though. Okay, it restricts his bishop a certain extent. I could maybe play knight up and threaten to take, but I don't think I'm actually threatening much, but... It feels to me like I should push the pawn on now and then try and push another one and storm up the board. And just hope that I'm holding a defensive line in somewhere. But e4 needs f4 before you can go e5. But that would be very strong if I could get the pawns here. If I could move them two here. Or it looks like it could be strong anywhere. Again, I'll get the cursor off the board. Just click my little heater down there. So he's playing a counter attack now. Does that allow a move like queen up to get active with a threat here and hit the rook? That looks very strong to me. Has he gone wrong? Can I push the pawn first is a question though. If you take either way, queen up, does that definitely win the piece back? It might do. That might be the right move rather than queen up. So here, if queen takes the pawn, queen up here, can the queen here defend the rook and the knight? From this square, I don't think you can. But if the bishop takes, your queen can go here to guard them both, but then your bishop's going to be loose, is it? Here, bishop takes. No, queen here. You can play queen back and you guard both pieces, and I've lost my pawn. So it doesn't quite work. If I go here, it invites f5, but I've got a check and then I can push. So I'm going to play here. The idea is there's a simple threat on the board immediately. it would attack 2 pieces and attack the rook with a check, and we attack the knight. And I think he's missed it. I think he's blundered then. I think he just moved too quickly, and I think he's missed this simple threat. So if I push the pawn, I'm attacking the queen. I don't think I need to think too much more about that. We hit the rook, we hit the queen and the bishop. If I win the bishop back, I'm then up material. Oh, he's just hung his queen. He's just had a complete lapse and hung the queen. Wow, so we managed to turn it round.